I'm calling last night's Baltimore-Pittsburgh game the greatest ending to a television season since Vince Mackey and The Shield ended, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. Did you guys ever see the show The Shield? It's one of my favorite all-time shows, probably in my top 3, alongside The Wire, The Sopranos, and The Shield. Those are probably my top 3 shows. No show had a better ending than The Shield. If you haven't seen The Shield, it's got the greatest series debut. What do they call the series debuts? The pilot episode, greatest pilot episode ever. When the pilot's over, your mouth is wide open. You're like, oh man, Vic Mackey, this dude is gangster. And then when you get to the end, I think 7 seasons. Holy cow! What an incredible ending for The Shield and Vic Mackey. And so I'm analogizing. And Scap will love this. I don't know if he's ever seen The Shield, but I'm analogizing Vic Mackey to Mike Tomlin. Vic Mackey is this guy that cleans up the streets of Los Angeles, but he's corrupt. You hate him. You want him to go away, and you just can't. You can never get him. You can never get Vic Mackey. And so here they get to the end of The Shield, and I'm sorry for blowing the ending for all of you that have never seen The Shield, but it's been out for like 20 years. You should have seen it. Vic Mackey, they think they got him at the end. He's going down. He's going to jail. Mike Tomlin's going down. He's getting fired last night. He's about to lose to the Baltimore Ravens. He's about to miss the playoffs. And the next image you see is Mike Tomlin beating his chest and blowing all of his critics a kiss. That's how Vic Mackey ended The Shield. He they thought they got him. He escapes. He doesn't go to jail. All of his buddies go to jail. And then at the very end, they put him in a little office job or whatever, but Vic grabs his pistol, puts it in his back, and walks out, and the rest is history. That's Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin, again, have you ever seen The Shield? He's the Vic Mackey. Have you seen The Shield? Do you know anything about The Shield?
I have.
Oh, okay, good. So you can go with my analogy. This is Vic Mackey, man, telling Scap and all the other critics, kiss my grits. I don't know, what TV show was that?
From Alice.
Yeah, it was Mel's Diner or something like that.
Yeah, Alice.
Yeah, Alice. Go ahead, Scap.
Jason, shout out to your tech people, your producer, whatever, for having this amazing clip provided to us, because I was afraid I was going to have to come on and describe this scene, but you guys have been playing it so much, and I'm glad that it's up while I'm talking. That might as well have been, he was literally stabbing every Pittsburgh Steeler fan in the back and then spitting on their face. That's what this chest-pounding, kissing display was after last. It was his middle finger, F you, to the entire city of Pittsburgh. Get ready to see my mediocrity for the next decade, boys and girls. Pucker up, because we're winning no playoff games for another 10 years while I sit here and win roughly 50% of my regular season games and float right into the Hall of Fame with every national media pundit smooching my rear end on the way. It's just breathtaking in scope that a guy that has not won a playoff game in a decade, 2016 was the last playoff game. It is breathtaking that is the display we get from some ridiculous last-second missed field goal that he needed to slither his way into the playoffs. Just breathtaking.
Steve.
Scap never disappoints. This is like, that right there was like Kobe Bryant's 81 almost. That reaction, if that would have came after winning the AFC title, right before they give him the Lamar Hunt trophy, I'd say, you know what? Completely justified, right? Jason, they barely squeaked by and were basically a 500. They were a missed kick away from being, 9-8? Let's not act like he just won the conference title. Come on, let's keep this in perspective.
I can't. I don't understand you guys. I really don't. The man's built up a 19-year resume, whether you like him or not. He's won a Super Bowl. He's coached in a second Super Bowl. Great. His entire reputation was on the line last night. They find a way to win the game. I don't care how they did it. Let the man have his moment. You can fire him next week if he loses to the Houston Texans and all that. But the man had a moment last night. That was, you know how they tried to make like Brandy Chastain ripping her top off and showing her size, those B cups or whatever in the sports bra or whatever. That's what Tomlin was, but it was reality. This actually mattered. Winning the World Cup for the women when we spent all that money. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. But Mike Tomlin, yes, knows that his critics are at the door, and he just slammed the door on them for at least another week, and he gets to go out. He gets to go out with his head held high if he is going out. And this is the other thing that both of you guys are missing. They got a real good shot at beating the Houston Texans. I'm not, and I know the Texans have won 8 or 9 in a row. Right. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. C.J. Stroud, I'm not buying. I'm not. Houston's defense is good, but this is not a great team. It's ripe to get beaten. They probably should have got beat yesterday by the Colts. The DK Metcalf coming back, super motivated after he nearly embarrassed himself. The Steelers last night, I felt like Aaron Rodgers developed some other options in the passing game. I think they beat the Houston Texans this weekend, and I'll be beating my chest for Mike Tomlin instead of Mike Tomlin, and I think they could have a run. It won't just be beating the Texans on Wild Card weekend. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a solid, if not spectacular, ending, or perhaps even set himself up to come back next year. I think you guys are underestimating what we saw last night. T.J. Watt is back. DK Metcalf is coming back, hyper motivated. They got some other offensive pieces, I think. I think you guys are underestimating what the Tomlin and the Steelers can do.
Scott?
Well, let me just say this real quick. Since you've referenced his 2 Super Bowls, the Steelers played the Packers and lost in the Super Bowl, Jason, in 2010. That is 16 years ago now. Since that Super Bowl loss, Mike Tomlin is 3-9 in the postseason. That's 3 wins total in 16 years. Now, they do have, albeit an over-the-hill kind of washed up Aaron Rodgers at this point, but I still believe in Aaron Rodgers to some degree, way more than Stroud, as you alluded to. But that Houston's defense is the number 1 rated defense in the NFL. They're number 1 in yards against. I think they're top in points allowed as well. And the Steelers did not see anything like that against this Ravens defense last night. The Ravens have had issues defensively all season long. It's going to be, I think, a different game next week, albeit in Pittsburgh on Monday night, despite the fact Houston won 12 games and played in a much more difficult division. Their reward is going on the road. But look, I'll be shocked if the Steelers win that game on Monday night. Shocked. You can have me on Tuesday morning and beat your chest in my face. You could just put a split screen up of Tomlin and then you just beating your chests in my face for like 3 minutes if they win that game.
Steve?
The Houston ends, Hunter and Anderson, they're going to be an issue. And that's a violent team. They strike. Now, Stroud is an issue, but he has playoff experience. And I believe he actually has a playoff victory under his belt. So I don't know how in the world Pittsburgh got a home game, and I think it's an issue.
It's not a mystery. They won their division.
We need to change that rule. 100%. We need to revisit that.